hit the road. In today's episode, we're going to review this 2015 Honda Jazz. This Honda Jazz is in the Passion Red Matilic Colour. It's in the SE Plus trim with the 1.4 litre I Vtec engine with the CVT Automatic gearbox. Just to let you know, CVT stands for Constant Variable Transmission, which means it changes up and down quite a bit to get the best fuel economy and performance. So let's go through the good features of it. We've got 16-inch alloy wheels, what come as standard except from the base model. We've got a really good long windscreen to help you see, and we've got some swooping back from up to the wing headlights to help you see at night. Then it's got air intakes with a honeycomb sort of mesh down here and here, with a Honda badge there. Then it's got LEDs, indicators. Now moving on to the side of the Honda Jazz now, we've got tinted rear glass, so privacy glass all the way round. So on the two passenger doors, the back windows and the tailgate, we've got tinted glass from factory, which is quite good. You don't get that on the base model, but you do get it throughout the range from the ES Plus trim. Then we've got door handles that are quite easy to use, and wing mirrors what are easy to see out of for good visibility. And again, as an option from new, we had fitted front rear mud guards and front mud guards to help stop mud as much. Now moving on to the rear of the Honda Jazz, we have car LED tail lights. The indicators aren't LED, but the brake lights and nighttime driving lights are. We've got the third brake light just here, which is LED. And then we've got the rear fog light here, indicator and again LED tail light. And then we've got two reflectors either side to make it look quite sporty. And again, the bumper's sort of moulded to make it look a bit sportier. And then the exhaust pipe is just under here tucked away nicely. So moving on to the cargo space now, let's show you how many Gusto boxes we can get in the Honda Jazz boot. So we can fit 6 Gusto boxes into the 335 litre boot of the Honda Jazz, which is quite impressive actually, so that's quite a big boot. Now let's move on to the magic seats. Is the magic seats in the Honda Jazz? Well, I'll tell you. First thing is first, this is the driver's seat set up to my normal driving position, and I've got good leg room, good knee room, and good head room in the Honda Jazz, because it's quite a tall and long vehicle, which is quite good. And behind the front passenger seat, again, this is all the way back this time, and I've got still ample leg room, ample foot room and ample head room, which is very good. I'm impressed with the Honda Jazz. So what makes the Honda Jazz seats so magic? Let's find out. So first, we can flip them up like cinema seats, both sides. And then we can walk through the vehicle, if we would like, and we can put floor to ceiling items, for example like a plant or a bike or something like that, this way. And then if we fold them both down, like that, we can fold them both completely flat, which is quite good. Then that means we can fit even more boxes. So let's get into it. So let's see how many boxes we can fit in the Honda Jazz. 1, 2, 3. But it would fit another 3 to 4 boxes due to the headroom, so I haven't got as many boxes as it would fill, but that's just a representation, so you can fit altogether 9 boxes, what I've got currently. So what makes the Honda Jazz so good inside? Well, let's find out. So first thing is first, it's got a good, nice, high driving position. Then following that, it's got a CD player. So we can play CDs in this car, so talk about old school, but that is a good thing if you like CDs. And we've got an auxiliary input, so an actual input instead of Bluetooth, which is quite good. And we've also got lots of visibility all around the car, so I can see, I've got a good view out the rear view mirror and wing mirrors like I was saying earlier. And it's got lots of windows, so we can like look around the car very well and see everything. But the things it is lacking is it's got no hands-free telephone system. That would be here if it had it. It would be the next model up. And it's got no automatic headlights and no automatic wipers, and the radio's basic, like a basic radio, like equivalent these days, because it has no Apple CarPlay, Android Auto or Bluetooth input for your phone audio or anything like that. Also, it's got no digital dials whatsoever, so you've got analog dials for everything, except from a little iMid display in the middle, what shows the information, so the mileage and that. So this car has done 50,587 miles since we've owned it, and it's been trouble-free motoring, all of it, except from a flat battery once, because we accidentally left one of the interior lights on. But that's it. And there's lots of black plastic, scratchy black plastic everywhere, because it's the cheapest vehicle in Honda's lineup at the time. But other than that, it's a very decent car. And because it's the ES Plus trim, we did get a few nice bits. So we got automatic air conditioning instead of the dials, and we got power folding mirrors, which is quite good. And we've got a USB input down here for your phone and that, and a 12-volt socket, and the automatic transmission and the manual handbrake if you want to do handbrake turns, which you won't be doing in this car because it's only got 98 horsepower, and it does it 0 to 60 time in 12.4 seconds, which is actually better than my Honda Civic with the same engine but the manual transmission. The insurance group on the Honda Jazz is Group 19, which makes it quite high compared to my Honda Civic, which is in Group 5. And the road tax for the year is £135 a year. The fuel tank has got 42 litres and the weight of the Honda Jazz is 1,079 kilo and the top speed of it is 109 miles an hour. So let's go for a drive. So how does the Honda Jazz feel to drive? To start off, the steering is very light and easy to use with its power steering. There's a good visibility all the way around the car, so that means you don't really need a reversing camera or parking sensors, which is quite good. It means it'll be cheaper to fix than a more expensive car because you haven't got a lot of tech on it. And like it pulls away from junctions quite good as well, which is quite good. Because you need snappy performance from a car. It's no good if it's very sluggish. And 98 horsepower for this car is quite adequate because it's quite light. In a minute we're going to go on a twisty road to see how it handles. It's a local road to me, it's called Grange Lane. The indicators are nice and easy to use, like in the right finger placement. If you had the Japanese import version of this car, the indicators are on the other side of the vehicle. But however, this isn't a Japanese import version. This car was also called a different name in different countries depending on where you got it. So in America it was called the Honda Fit, and in Japan I think it was called Honda Fit as well. But in this country in Europe it's called the Honda Jazz. And the Honda Jazz has been going for quite a while now. The first one came out in 2001 on a 51 plate, and now it's on its 4th generation, hybrid only. But you could get this model as a hybrid as well, only for a short period of time. And there was like a test vehicle in America and in Japan where it was an electric vehicle as well. It was a prototype where, so that means Honda were thinking to the future, which is quite a good thing. Picks up the speed nicely to 60 and the brakes are quite sharp but not too grabby, that's the good thing. So let's get it on to this road with the potholes and the suspension sort of test, see how it handles that. So far it's done quite well with its softness. Quite good. Like it's handling very well, in fact. Handling these corners quite well as well. Like it's handling it all very well, in my opinion. Bit of a sharper corner now. like the Civic, it handles quite well, and it's got lots of useful and clever features. Which is very good. And potholes are a bit sharper than we would like to be, but however, it handles them with ease. Now let's get going after I've fixed the microphone issue. And it handles off-road sort of alright as well. There was just like a pull-in where I had to pull in to fix an issue with the microphone, and like it sort of went very well off-road, so it's a good off-road. Well, I say off-road, it's just sort of little holes, not really off-road. But here's one of my top tips: if you are off-road, make sure you don't put your thumbs in the wheel like this, you want them out the wheel like that, so your thumbs up. Because if you don't, you could potentially break your thumbs if it's a sharp like drop or something. That's what I was told from like when I did an off-road driving course when I was younger. So that tip's always stayed with me, and I always do it like on a rough patch of road or something like that. This Honda Jazz also came in a variety of trims and colours, with lots of different features. Like the next model up from this Jazz, you've got a panoramic sunroof, so glass roof. You've got Bluetooth telephone, but not Bluetooth audio, so you couldn't stream your songs with your phone, but you could answer phone calls from it. And you got front fog lights, which is quite good. And then the Jazz after this model year went a bit downhill in my opinion, and then it picked back up again with the new hybrid. It has. Like the new hybrid Jazz is quite good, as my mum test drove it, and she was quite impressed with it. And I felt like it had gone back up to a good quality like this Jazz. The Jazz also came with two different engines. It came with a 1.2 litre I Vtec and a 1.4 litre I Vtec, both of which are petrols, but the 1.2 was the less powerful one. So the 1.4 is the one you would want to go for. I imagine it would be a little bit more thirstier on petrol, the 1.4, but you'd rather that than have less performance, in my opinion. In a minute we can do an emergency stop so you can see what the brakes are like. We'll do it from around 30 miles an hour when it's safe to do so. So the brakes work very well. So they stopped me from 30 to nothing in a couple of seconds pretty much. And that's what you want from a car. you want good stopping power, but in this car it won't flash the hazard warning lights as it's an older design model, because this Jazz design is from 2009, so it won't have as good safety rating as it now if it was retested by NCAP than it did in 2009. The radio has 4 speakers in this car, so 2 at the front, 2 at the back. You don't get no side tweeters or subwoofer in this car, unfortunately, just from the price point, I think. And it's not DAB radio, so it's not a digital radio either. It's only FM and AM. But FM's alright for now, until they turn the FM signal off, then there'll be a bit of an issue, I think. Yeah, and the horn sounds like a noddy horn. Like a noddy horn, because it is a bit like a noddy car, a Jazz. Can't be mean to it, can we? And the 0 to 60 time is very impressive. It's faster than my 2015 Honda Civic SE Plus, which is quite good, and that sounds it's just down to the CVT gearbox, I think, and it's lighter than the Civic. But it handles quite well, I'd say, if I do say myself. It picks up quite well. Like, there's 60 miles an hour now. And this car does also come with a more modern thing. It comes with tyre deflation warning lights, so if one of your tyres is a bit flat, a warning light will pop up and tell you, oh, just watch out, if one of your tyres might be flat. Sadly it doesn't tell you which one. That's a good thing, because then you'll check all 4 tyres. It doesn't come with a spare wheel at all, this Jazz, but you can get one as an Olivac extra, but this Jazz didn't come with that. But instead it came with a tyre inflation kit, so it came with like the stuff you put in the tyre and a tyre inflator air compressor thing, which is okay, but you just don't want to be doing it on the side of a motorway. You'd rather call a breakdown, to be honest. But that is okay. But overall, the Jazz is very impressive to drive. I'm quite impressed by it. And it's a good learner driver car as well. A great visibility all the way around the cabin. And yeah, it's just a good car to learn to drive in. Because I learned to drive in this car before I got my Civic. So, mastered all the like sort of steering, indicating, and all the hard junctions in an automatic, and then switch to a manual. And I think that's the way forward. Eventually, every car will be automatic in the future. Sadly, it will lose the manual gearbox, sadly, which is a bit sad. But it's also alright at the same time, because automatic cars are quicker, because you're not having to change gear yourself. also sad at the same time, because then you're not doing as much, just letting the car change gear when it wants to and stuff like that, which is okay, but again, you want to sort of do it yourself. We just went over a railway crossing there and it handles perfectly. You hardly felt any of the bumps. Currently we're just coming up to Bottisford, which is a village near me. It's not too far away. It's only about 7 miles away from my house, I think. Yeah, and the Jazz is quite good. We've done a few long drives in it. It's been all the way up to Stirling in Scotland without a hitch. Yeah, it handled it very well. We've just got a hill start coming up, so I'll see how a hill start works in the Jazz. So handbrake, accelerate, and it is that easy in an auto. You don't have to find the biting point on the clutch, it's literally just accelerate and handbrake off, which is good. You don't get as many features in the Jazz as you do in more modern day cars, but that's fine if you just want old school motoring. So we're just passing through Bottisford village centre, as it is. Just letting that big bus through. Yeah, so it handles villages alright. We'll find out a bit later how it handles on dual carriageways. But first, let's go up to Beaver Castle. And this car is very easy to park as well. Like, for example, parallel parking, like in a space, forwards, backwards. Like, it's a very easy car to park and see out of, which is very good. Now let's do a 0 to 60. You only use S for like more power really, and L for like if you're climbing a really steep hill, for example, or you want to drop it even lower than, so first, so to speak. I think it's first in a CVT, L. With the all-round visibility in this car, I can see Beaver Castle on top of the hill. This car is not far off handling like my Honda Civic, but the only thing it does do is it leans in the corners a bit more than my Civic. Because my Civic is quite a lower car and it feels very planted, whereas the Jazz is a super mini and not a super mini hatchback sort of car, and like it was designed for sort of family use more than the Civic was designed for family use, but the Jazz is a bit more an all-rounder, so it can handle off-road a bit better due to more ground clearance, and it's also got more space in like the back, more leg room and stuff than the Civic. But both are very good cars, in my opinion. Drop the speed a bit, and turn it in. Yeah, it does lean a bit more in the corners, but that would be that issue would be fixed if you did lower the Jazz, but then it wouldn't have as much ground clearance. It wouldn't. But the aircon works lovely. Yeah, so we're just on the way to Beaver Castle now. So, we're on a country lane at the moment, and all is well in the Honda Jazz. The ride's smooth, the engine is good. It feels pretty much like you're floating down the road, which is a good thing. After a long day of work, for example, you just want to be in comfort and get home. And the Jazz will get you home. Little villages tend to have like tight sweeping bends in them, and the Jazz handles them very well. Like we're nearing Grantham now. Find out how the Jazz handles on a dual carriageway on the A1. And I was looking for another car. I would choose a Honda Jazz, as they're very reliable cars and got plenty of equipment you need on them. So, what's my final verdict on the Honda Jazz ES Plus? So, would I buy one? And the answer is yes, I would buy the Honda Jazz. as it is a very practical car, and it's a quite nippy car, and it's a good all-round car with quite a good few selection of features, and it's quite cheap to run. So yeah, I would buy a Honda Jazz. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to MPT Productions so you don't miss another upload.